to a session about 5G, demystifying 5G for the Internet of Things. My name is Jelte Jansons and I'm a product manager in Telenor. You may wonder, what does Telenor do in the Internet of Things? When you walk into the average Telenor shop, you might not know that we are connecting 30 million devices all around the world, as this map shows. We are number 3 in Europe and number 10 in the world. We give global coverage to 13 million IoT devices, and we provide our customers a single point of contact, not only to connect the different things, that's the easy part, but also to support them wherever they are in the world. Gartner positions us as a leader in the 2019 Magic Quadrant for the IoT connectivity. So we are one of the large players when it comes to the IoT. But IoT can be connected in many different ways, and that's sometimes confusing our customers and perhaps also you. So which technology shall I choose? There's so much to choose from Bluetooth to 5G, to LoRa to Sigfox, to narrowband to Zigbee. Very complicated. So what is the best technology? For that, it's very important to look at the use case, because there are different technologies for different use cases. But when we are connecting ourselves, let's look here at this kind of events. Connectivity is important for all of us. And that's why the first question on any conference is, what's the Wi-Fi password? Because we all like to connect ourselves to the cloud and to the social media, to post what we're happening here, to see what our friends are doing. Yeah? The Wi-Fi password is important. Connectivity is very important. So we get a Wi-Fi password, which might work in one location, but it doesn't work in another location. So there is not something like a global Wi-Fi password. You need to connect everywhere. When you go to one hotel, you have a different Wi-Fi password. In another restaurant, another Wi-Fi password. Now think about this. If you want to work with the Internet of Things and connecting things in an easy way in many countries around the world, then this kind of Wi-Fi password is very struggling. It's really a problem. So yeah, you can very easily connect devices, but the challenge is not connecting. Everybody can connect, but keep your devices connected for more than 10 years. That's what IoT is all about. Then hassling with Wi-Fi passwords and local security, that is really not the way to work for many use cases. That's why at Telenor we very much believe in mobile technology. Another reason is that it's scalable. You know how many people are using the mobile technology? According to Ericsson, from a mobility report, there are around 8 billion subscriptions. So 8 billion devices, most of them phones, tablets, they are using the mobile network. So this is a real scalable solution. And we have around 1.3 billion things connected to the Internet of Things as well through mobile technology. So mobile technology is a very good way to not only connect humans but also the Internet of Things. So what does then 5G bring to the table? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4G, it's all about being more and faster. It was an easy message to explain. So what is 4G? It's more than 3G. So what's 5G? Yeah, let's dive into that now. So 5G is not just more and faster, as it always is a new technology. It's also much smarter. It's at one hand, it is trying to be more efficient, saving battery time, saving energy, and on the other hand, being faster and sending more data. And that's very confusing. And that's so confusing that I understand that people really get a little bit 5G stress, what it is about. So let's dive into what 5G then is. 5G is smarter, I say. Yeah, so what is smarter? Smarter means that our IoT devices, the simpler devices like sensors, electricity meters, they can now have very long battery life. So you switch them on and they will stay connected for 10 years and you never charge the battery. That is now possible. Also, we can now reach very much deep indoor locations. And the hardware of these sensors is a little bit simpler and therefore often cheaper. So with this, it's possible to mass-wise deploy mobile IoT, and that's happening today. This is sometimes called also massive mobile IoT. But it's also more. More meaning that there's enhanced mobile broadband. The primary target is not the Internet of Things, but the consumer market. But for Internet of Things, we can also find many good benefits about it. It will be faster, better streaming and higher capacity. That's the traditional message. But there is a third aspect to 5G, and that it's faster. You get a faster response. For all of you that are playing games online or have perhaps children like me who play Fortnite, a very fast ping is important. Ask a Fortnite player how important the ping is, an ultra fast response. Now this is not just for gaming, there are many other use cases and we will go into that. So an ultra fast response, 3 aspects. It's important to realize that these 3 different things are not always happening at the same time. For example, when we look at the smarter. In the smarter we can have a longer battery life, so we can have 10 years without recharging. So how is that then done? How can that be achieved? And why didn't we do it before? Well, the answer is very simple. We're just lazy. If you work less and you sleep more, you will live longer. And that's the same for the battery. So what we do is that we allow devices to listen less often. See, normally when I have a mobile phone, I want it to respond immediately. When somebody calls me or I get a message, I would like immediately to see that on my phone. But then the phone needs to be listening all of the time. A sensor in a building perhaps needs to listen every hour or every day if there's something new. So here, when we, for example, set the setting to 41 seconds instead of 1 second, there's 97% savings on listening time. That's really great, 97% savings on listening time. I'm sure that after my presentation you need at least 2 or 3 coffees to wake up again, but that's because you have been listening very well. If you won't listen to me, you will not be so tired. But we can also go to deep sleep mode, that we say, okay, we sleep for a whole day, but we are still connected to the network. Then we wake up for a while to send some data, for example, to sensor data, then we go to sleep again, and we save a lot of power. You understand that if you would like to be reached, if I like to reach a device and it's in sleep mode, then I can't reach a device. I might need to wait for a day. So this is something like tuning, and this is where the smartness comes in. You as an IoT developer need to decide how much snooze and how much sleep, how much EDRX and how much PSM is good for your use case, and how much battery time you would like to have. And this is a matter of tuning. So this gives a very smart solution for the IoT. Besides that, we have a better indoor coverage because messages get automatically repeated. So if you didn't hear me, I can automatically repeat my message. I can automatically repeat my message. And that means that, of course, if I repeat many times, I have a shorter battery life, but I have a better coverage. So this is also built into this standard. And Ericsson predicts that by 2025, around 52% of all the cellular IoT connections will use these technologies. And the technologies are narrowband IoT and LTE-M. They both have their place, and we believe that especially LTE-M for global deployments is a very good way forward. Then there's another aspect about the 5G, the enhanced mobile broadband. Now, while I record this, it has just been summer vacation. So what did we do during the summer vacation? Well, my children, they were mainly surfing and streaming by YouTube and TikTok. Perhaps you have the same in your home. So this is the typically behavior of users today. We are surfing and also a little bit streaming. And I say a little bit streaming is, yeah, we only use one streaming channel. So we watch one movie at a time. We talk to one person at a time. When we, for example, make a Skype conversation, we Skype, for example, with our friends. It's just with one conversation at a time. But that was yesterday. What has happened meanwhile is that we have now the need for massive mobile streaming. Well, we will also do some surfing, so the user pattern will change. For example, all of us do remote working with Zooms and Teams, where there are many people talking and moving at the same time, taking a lot more bandwidth. So this is happening today. But what mobile technology actually adds to this is that it automatically works worldwide and that you can use it while you are on the move. So it's a mobile technology. It's not fit to one physical location, because today if you use 4G, I think it works fine when you do video streaming, but when you have multiple streams at the same time, it really starts to become a little bit a bottleneck. And in 5G, that will be gone. Now, that's not the only thing that you can do with enhanced mobile broadband, but it's one very typical use case and very relevant today in the world of remote working. And this increased bandwidth will lead to much more possibilities. It will be able to connect a much larger part of the society, also in rural areas. But what does it mean for the IoT? For the IoT, it means that we can now also easier add video and audio streaming to our IoT devices. Think, for example, about a customer service portal in a shopping center. So instead of talking to a person, you can actually talk perhaps to a audio streaming device that's connected to a person that sits in a remote location. So there are many use cases we can do with this. And this is, well, good, we can do so many things, but how does it actually work? And what is it? Let's have a look at the 5G new radio technology that will be introduced, where we get new radio bands on a higher frequency, where we use many more antennas. We're using more antennas, we can send in more data, and where we do beamforming in more and smaller cells. Let's explain that a little bit more in detail here. We see a cell tower that is sending data in a cell, and that can be reached by all these different devices that are inside the cell, and they all get the same kind of signal. That is the traditional way of working, and in 4G we started to work with one extra antenna, so we had two antennas there. But in 5G we add many more antennas and we add beamforming. And beamforming means that we target a signal especially to a specific device. For example, we target it to this robot, or to this car, or to this bicycle. But you see on the picture there is one car on the right hand side that could not be reached. That's because beamforming works best in small distances, and in cities there are often buildings in the way. So the cells must be much smaller, and we must have much more cells so that we can also reach that car that's just around the corner while it's moving. And 5G is made to do this. This also will give improvements not only in cities but also in rural areas. So is 5G new radio technology already there? And the answer is not yet. We do have pilots, of course, of 5G new radio technology, but there is no nationwide coverage yet. We are all waiting for the radio auctions, and in Sweden that's happening in November 2020. After that, Telenor will very quickly roll out a nationwide 5G new radio technology network. Meanwhile, also the iPhone is still not 5G capable, and that means that also there is not a lot of users yet of this 5G. But this is today the 5G new radio technology will be introduced in the coming years in a very rapid speed. The final aspect of 5G is critical communications, where it's all about speed of the response. Very relevant, for example, for cars. Connected cars that are talking to each other to warn each other about the traffic jam, as we can see in this example. That can be, of course, in public roads, but public roads is a little bit tricky. There's a lot of aspects on public roads. We see there is a lot of examples in private spaces where critical communications is very important. For example, look at this closed yard of this container harbor where self-driving trucks and self-driving cranes are loading the containers from the ship and loading them onto trucks. This is a closed environment, and it's very important that this happens fast and very precise. There are many cranes involved that are working in parallel. For this kind of examples, the critical communication can be a very good enabler. Also, if you have a drone, so you can of course now have a drone to inspect electricity networks or remote sites. Today you must be quite close to that drone and able to control it, but with 5G you could actually be a little bit further away, so you can have it outside of sight. So with 5G you could also do things like drones, augmented reality, and so on. The final important part is this Industry 4.0 example, where you see multiple robots, they are working together. So in a production line, many robots build together a truck or a car or a machine. And there are many robots involved, and you understand when one robot can't work because he doesn't have the information to take the right decisions, then everything stands still, and that is very expensive. So it's very important also for the quality of the product that this robot communication is very fast. So in the new generation of Industry 4.0, we see that robots communicate with each other without human involvement and collaborate to build a product. So how does this then work? Well, to answer that, we first need to think about how fast do we want to have it. You will ask, how fast can you make it? Well, the ambition is the speed of light. The speed of light is the fastest the data can travel, and data travels 300 kilometers in a millisecond. So if you want to have 1 millisecond reply, you should be around 100-150 kilometers from the cloud to send a message and to receive an answer. That means that we have to change our way of working with the cloud. We have in the recent years moved all our data to centralized clouds, and mobile technologies like 4G are centralized solutions. Now in 5G we need to have a decentralized solution instead, where we have parts of the data computation and communication close to the robots, but also parts in the cloud. So there will be one 5G network that consists of many different parts. So there will be many edge cores, so factory sites where different robots and devices are connected locally, having access to local data, which also makes it secure because it does not depend on a cloud solution and definitely doesn't depend on a public cloud solution. So you don't have to give your data away to the public cloud. So this also adds a layer of security and independence of a central solution. This is a very fast solution, but of course there is still a central cloud for a lot of other activities that don't require this fastness. There are many use cases in an industrial situation where 10 milliseconds is good enough, and we still have a central cloud and we still have a central 5G network as well. So this brings a lot of complexity and possibilities at the same time. The complexity is in orchestrating, and that means that when you are deploying something, that it works as well on the local sites as on the central cloud, and where to put it, locally or in the central cloud. So there's a lot of extra kind of complexity. This part of 5G is the newest part of 5G. It is recently standardized. It's standardized in 2020. And that means that it will take a few years before this becomes part of the mainstream. But it is something to look out for, the critical communications. At the moment, there are already quite some pilot projects where we are connecting Industry 4.0 sites with this 5G critical communications. Yes, 5G is a lot of different things. It's smarter, it's more, and it's faster. I hope I managed to demystify a little bit to you what 5G is all about and how it works. We, as the mobile networks, are ready for the Internet of Things. Mobile networks already connect 1.3 billion devices today, and 5G, it will connect more Internet of Things and a society for real. We can start with mobile IoT already today. That is available. If you want to know more about that, please contact us at telenorconnexion.com. My name is Jelte Jansons, and it was a pleasure that I was able to talk to you about 5G. And thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the other great events at the Data Innovation Summit. Goodbye.